is up, everybody? We are back with another episode of the Red Glare Podcast, and we are back. It is me, Alec. You can find me at Alec Miller. You find me on Twitter at AlecMiller0423, and I'm joined as always by Paul. What's up, man?
What's up, everybody out there? Man, it's like a wave of depression's been over all of our sports teams since the Astros quit playing.
Yeah,
So if you're feeling that way, hopefully we can get you through it today. Kind of talk you through some of the things going on.
yeah. Let's talk you off the ledge. Let's talk you off the ledge, and see that things are gonna get better. I promise. They will get better. But it's been a weird week, right? In Houston sports, free agency started in baseball. The Texans finally didn't lose this week, but it's because they were on their bye week.
Yep.
I don't. I mean, I don't know. They might have lost the bye week. I'm not
Yeah.
sure that's possible. But they would find a way. And the Rockets still have not won a game. I believe the what's the streak now? Is it like 10? I'm about to look it
I
up.
forgot the streak, but I think we're 1-12 or 1-11,
Yeah, I think it's like an 8 or 9 loss streak, maybe 10. Houston
and
Rockets.
it's coming full circle because we're gonna play the only team we beat. And
Yes, we are at 12 games, 12 losses in a row so far.
okay, 12 in a row. Ooh,
Because the Rockets are, where's their,
1-13 then.
yeah, because
Ooh,
lost first game, won the second game against this team, the Thunder, that we'll get into later, and you know, it's just not been a great time. There has been
yeah.
talk of people speaking about Steven Silas, talking about the future of the Rockets, and we'll get into all that later on in the show. But to start out, let's go ahead and start with the breaking news this week, today, in the world of baseball and in the world of the Astros. Justin Verlander has agreed to sign a $25 million contract, 1 year, um, and he'll be back fully healthy. I just want to go ahead and get your thoughts on this. What are you expecting from this?
Yeah, I mean, I had a feeling it was going to happen no matter what once the owner came out, like, I think last week, and, basically said, oh, yeah, we've sent him a qualifying offer and, something of the lines of, like, if he wants more, we'll pay more.
Yeah,
So I knew it was going to be a done deal, and he obviously thinks super high of Justin Verlander. So, um, yeah, man, like, I think there's an argument to be made. Maybe he is a bit older. You're paying for this guy coming off of surgery. There's a lot of risk involved. But at the same time, you are the Astros and you did just go to the World Series and you were, towards the end you weren't, but initially you were competitive in that series, right? So I think you have to look at it in a way of if you have an ace and the ace could win you two games on the big stage, even though Verlander hasn't been that great in the World Series when he did go. Um, I think that's the gamble that they're trying to take. So, personally, I don't have a problem with it. But what I do have growing concerns about is the combination of Verlander and McCullers, not being able to stay healthy when it comes to the playoffs. So, if I'm the Astros, like, I don't know if it's possible in baseball, but can we just play Verlander the second half of the season? I don't know. It's tough, but what I'm really thinking is I want that guy in the playoffs, and that's all I really care about for next year.
yeah. I think Justin Verlander's uh, his biggest value is probably in the locker room, coaching these young pitchers that we have,
Yeah,
especially in
good
the
point.
bullpen. We seem to have issues going deeper into games, and hopefully, I'm hoping to see the kind of like next step for Framber Valdez, Luis Garcia, and even Christian Javier, and I'm hoping that Verlander can
Same.
be that guy, kind of like not only be on the sidelines like he was this year, but to actually um, be able to show him things through him, like by seeing him play. Like via osmosis. I'm hoping that those guys can take some, can take some, just some of that knowledge and take that later into the playoffs. I don't expect like crazy big numbers from him, But
Same.
he was dealing before he got hurt.
Yeah.
Sure. So hopefully, really all you're hoping is that even though he is older, that injury was able to heal completely, and that's what I'm hoping to see. If he does, then the value for Verlander goes even higher, in my opinion. But we have to see in those hopefully in spring training.
Yeah, yeah, man. That's one of those guys. Like, I would love, this dream scenario of him retiring as an Astro and having another shot at a World Series. Like, that's like the best case scenario for me. So if signing him gives us that chance, then I'm on board with it.
Yeah, for sure. So that's unfortunately the only news we have with the Astros. Still, all we know right now is that Correa has declined his qualifying offer,
Yeah.
which was I believe 5 year, 100. I know it was gonna be 32 million a year. Um, do you have any thoughts on that? Because I don't even think we talked about it. What did you think about him declining the deal, and do you think he should have taken it? Taking bias completely out of it if he can.
Um, I mean, I don't blame him for declining it because, like, I don't think he wants to. I don't think he'd ever play for like the Yankees or Dodgers. But like the reality is, he kind of has some leverage with a big market team,
Mm-hmm.
and I think he knows that. So, even if it's not as much per year, I think one of those teams will at least give him a 7 or 8 year deal.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm optimistic about this, man. Like, I think we're gonna end up meeting somewhere in the middle. Maybe we add another year to that. Maybe we add more money per year. I'm not sure. I'm not sure. What the numbers are, but I'm feeling pretty optimistic about it so far, and I think Carlos wants it to work out too. But
Mm-hmm.
he also probably has an agent in his ear just telling him, "Hey, man, like, we can get more. Be
Yeah.
patient." So that's how I see it playing out. What do you
Yeah,
think?
and yeah, I agree. I think it is mostly coming down to the agent like telling him like, yo, like this is your because the thing is like those 10 year deals because that's what he wants. He wants a 10 year deal, right? He wants a 10 year deal. Those 10 year deals don't normally work out, but normally they don't work out because they're giving them to guys that are on the back end of their career. Correa is one of those very rare guys who have this big deal coming for him, and he is still not even 30 years old. Um,
Yeah,
so it's like you're gonna get I think you're definitely gonna get your bang for your buck, but my like the players like kind of guy like where I'm like I want the players to come first is saying to take this deal. If you're Correa, like if I was his agent, I would say take this deal, play it out. You're gonna be competing. It's guaranteed. Basically, you'll be competing every year, and just play this deal out because by the time your deal is expired, there will already be a new CBA deal,
hmm
and I think that'll guarantee all players more money. And so like part of me is like hold out, get the big money, or get the contract that you want, right? Like I want him to get that 10 year deal.
yeah,
That'd be great. But I mean, at least in the Astros eyes, it doesn't seem like it's gonna matter. Like they don't seem like they want to give away that kind of like years. It's all about the years. The money is I think the money
right,
is there. It's
correct.
all about the years, and it's just that MLB has seen like teams have seen these 10 year deals fail like year after year. Look at the Phillies and Bryce Harper. Like they haven't. I think they're 3 years into that deal, and still no playoffs since he's been there, and
Yeah,
he's only getting older. Like he's still
yeah,
one of
man.
the best players in the league, just the same as Mike Trout is. Like two of the best players in the league, but they're still struggling to get their team to the playoffs every year. And I think you do that with these big deals. Uh, you're kind of handcuffing yourself for a long period of time, and they haven't been able to build
Right.
anything. And obviously, the Bryce Harper one's a little more fresh because it's the first 3 years. I think this was the second or third year, depending if you count the COVID year last year. So yeah,
Yeah.
man, I don't know, man. It's
I mean,
the
even sorry, good.
no, I was gonna say like I mean I want him to, but the only good thing is that he did seem to kind of burn down the bridge with the Yankees. Said what he
Yeah,
said about Derek Jeter. So
about Jeter.
yeah, so it's
He
like
basically
okay,
said, "Fuck Jeter."
yeah, which I disagree. I mean, I think Derek Jeter at least deserved one of those Gold Gloves. You know, like he did have that crazy jump throw, but I do agree that Jeter might be a little overrated in terms of talent.
Yeah, yeah, probably a little bit overrated, but definitely like one of the best Yankees at the same time.
Yeah, like he. I
So
mean,
you know what I mean?
in
It's hard,
culture, yeah, like culture wise, like I think he
right?
deserves all the accolades because he created that culture in New York, you know, or kept it
Yeah,
alive for as long as he did. But yeah, I mean, talent wise, he wasn't like the greatest shortstop of all time. He'll come
I
El
mean,
Capitan because he's a great leader, not because he's the best player.
yeah, and to be honest, I think there's some comparisons between Correa and Jeter when it comes to the culture side as well,
Mm-hmm.
because like you said, Jeter kept that team alive, and made the diving play into the stands, and
Mm-hmm.
all these. He just showed that kind of like toughness that New York rallies behind,
Yeah.
in that market,
Oh yeah,
and
yeah,
this. And for us, like Correa is just like a menace, and like a lot of like people in Houston just love that, like
yeah,
we've embraced being the villain. So yeah, man, like you don't want to pay a guy $30 million to be a villain, but when he can impact on the field and off the field, like and he got the Golden Glove. I mean, dude,
yeah.
you know what I'm
He's
saying?
fine.
Like to me, like maybe a couple hits could have, if he would have put up a little bit more production in the playoffs, it'd probably be a
Yeah,
no brainer right now.
for
But
sure.
the whole team struggled, to be fair, bro. Like
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying? Everyone struggled. Some people had
yeah.
hot moments, but everyone struggled. So
Every bat was cold in the World Series.
exactly, man. I don't think it's all on Korea, but yeah, man. Hopefully he comes back, bro. Like
Yeah,
I think these guys need to sit down, and too many teams approach this by the numbers and hard negotiations. I think it's important to just sit down, get Altuve, get Correa, get the ownership and the front office at a table, and let's talk about some goals and meet halfway. That's
yeah,
that's what I'd like in an ideal world, but who knows?
yeah. Gotta have one of them hard conversations, man.
Yeah,
But what you said about Korea, I actually really agree with that. I never thought about it like that, but I agree with the comparison with him and Jeter because if Korea's not on this team, I don't know if we bounce back from the cheating scandal. Like
yeah,
he
that's
was the
true.
main guy who was out there talking and was just like, yo, like yeah, we did what we did. Like come see us about it. Like you can see us on the field and all this stuff. And I think that's what the city needed. They needed to hear somebody because I was begging Bregman to be that guy. I was begging Bregman because he was trying to be the whole like LeBron of the MLB of the Astros. This scandal comes out and he immediately goes quiet.
Yeah,
I'm not a big fan of this saying, but I was just like, yo, keep that same energy, right? Like,
yeah,
like if you want to be that guy, be that guy. I say it about everything. Like, if you want to be a certain person, be that person all the time. Don't just like be all like loud and cocky, and then as soon as you get punched in the mouth, immediately you go away. No one ever hears from you. So it's like
yeah.
Correa
You're
was
saying
the
this about
guy.
Bregman, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
Whereas
exactly.
Correa stood up and was and stood up for the team, and I think that if he wouldn't have done that, this team could have imploded on itself. And that's similar to like how Jeter with the Yankees never like throughout all the he was there through the great seasons and was there for those bad seasons
Exactly.
and he was able to keep pushing through, and I think that speaks volumes to Correa as well. Um, I think he's a little bit better in terms of talent, but like I said, Correa's been this good since he was 17 years old when we
Yeah,
drafted him.
man.
Like,
It,
and I just feel like Correa is one of those guys that you want on your. If you drafted him, like, I think we'll end up like looking back and like, damn, like, can't believe he left us. Like, we made him into what he was, and like now he's gonna be doing it for somebody else. It's gonna be weird. I mean, really weird if he leaves.
bro, and exactly. He could be like barely approaching career numbers too, is what you have to realize.
Yeah,
Like
he's
it's
entering his
sometimes
prime.
like exactly, man, and sometimes like on like that 32-year-old is like that year is just, I don't know if that's the start of the end or what, but like,
Yeah, right.
you know, that right when that 30 to 32, man, some of these guys get hot, bro. And I'd hate to see Correa torching in another uniform, man.
Hmm.
That would be
Like,
pretty sad.
and don't get me wrong, even I'm glad he burned the bridge with the Yankees because I think New York would love him. Like
Yeah. Oh
all the
yeah.
trash they talk about him, like
They
over
would
the
rally the shit behind him.
yeah, man, like he would
And
like
with the
especially if he
Jeter
was
and
like
oh man.
especially if he was like 100% like just like loud like yeah I'm Kim on the Yankees like I feel like he would pull off like an epic like wrestling style promo where it's just we're the bad boys of the MLB blah 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 type of stuff and
Oh,
like
dude.
that would scare me so I'm glad he burnt this bridge because
Yeah,
you know they're
man.
always willing to fucking send their money out but no Yankees gonna no Yankees gonna accept you now that you said that about Jeter there ain't no
Yeah.
way.
Yeah.
All right, man. Let's go ahead and jump into some excuse me. Some I actually wanted to talk a little bit of football because there was a big
Okay.
thing that happened that we didn't get a chance to talk about because it hadn't even happened. But OBJ signing with the LA Rams, like it's kind of crazy. We don't got to go too
Hmm.
long on it because it was obviously not as successful in the first game back. But it's just crazy to see OBJ in LA. He's been wanting that big market. He's got a really great. He's got a quarterback who's known for a great arm. Like,
Yeah.
whereas like Baker's not really known for his arm. And I'll admit that. Baker's not bad, but he's also his arm strength's not there. He doesn't. I don't think he has the arm talent that a OBJ
Right.
requires and that's what Matthew Stafford is. I think Matthew Stafford has the arm to make OBJ happy. The question is, does it work? You know, with Cooper Cup, Daryl Henderson in the backfield. You know, what's his name? My blanking on is it Higby? Yeah, Tyler
Higby.
Higby at the
Yeah.
tight end position. Like, there's a lot of weapons on this team, and I don't know. Do you think it'll work in LA?
Well, let me just say this. I'm pissed because I have Stafford and OBJ in fantasy.
Oh man,
And
I hate that.
Stafford's been lighting it up and Mahomes has shit the bed all season.
Yep.
And dude, I've stuck with Mahomes because I'm like,
This
no, he's
week,
gonna break through. And this week I fucking changed and I put Stafford and OBJ in there and they completely were trash. So
oh yeah,
F you guys one time, but do I think it's going to work? I mean, I think it depends on OBJ more than Stafford and the
yeah.
rest of the offense. Because, like, I think Sean McVay has, I think he's a good coach, man. I think, like, the offense is going to be orchestrated. So I think if there's any issues, it has to fall on OBJ because
Mm-hmm.
the offense was looking good before you got there, bro. And if as soon as you get there, things start becoming broken, you know, it's about me on offense. I mean,
Yeah.
that to me that has like huge concerns. But you know, the Rams they're trying to win big. They took a risk and they're trying to have those weapons in the playoffs. So you know, I think best case scenario for the Rams, maybe it helps push you over the top on a couple playoff games,
Mm-hmm.
and that's all you can really hope for. But yeah, man, I think I see it working out similar to how AB is on the Buccaneers. Like he's not exactly the most consistent or best player anymore, but he's you know he was a weapon in the run.
Yeah,
You
he could
know,
still blow the top off of the defense. Yeah.
exactly. So I kind of see like a similar outcome with this scenario.
Okay.
Um, and unless OBJ you know wants to be the star, then probably not.
Yeah, and it's gonna be like interesting to see how like he reacts to a possibility of like Cup getting more receptions and more targets than he does, right?
Yeah.
Because in Cleveland, even though he was still complaining about targets, I think he held off for a year or two from complaining because Jarvis Landry,
Right.
you know, they were best friends. I think they
That
were
was his
roommates in
boy.
college.
Yep.
Yeah, so like obviously like he was happy for his boy at the same time, and probably a little frustrated, but kept it to himself. Now he's at this point in his career where you know he hears the media saying like, is OBJ done? Can he not? Is he not meant to be like? Is he never gonna be able to live up to the potential after that crazy catch, right? Like that's the
Exactly.
biggest question about OBJ. Ever since that crazy catch, he's kind of been a dud. Not a dud. Like he's still a great receiver, but like he just never could make
Yeah,
that next
he
leap.
didn't evolve after that.
Yeah, and like that's what defines him, right? And like when people talk about OBJ, they don't go like, man, like he's had a hell of a career. They're just like that catch though, like that catch
Yeah,
was
that
telling.
catch, the
But
Browns,
but
eh.
you wanna be able to like you want to be able to see like or him be able to say like OBJ and people are like dude like that dude had a hell of a career and so far it hasn't been that and so I think he's hearing all that. What happens when like he goes a game and Cooper Cup has like 100 and something yards and he has 2 targets? How does he
Yeah,
react to that? And that's gonna be I think the biggest thing that we can say, but the biggest thing we have to ask before we figure out if this is going to be a success or not. I'm hoping it is. Like, I really do want to see OBJ.
yeah, exactly.
Especially because I hear like he's a really decent guy. Like take away the stuff about the off the field antics and being a diva and stuff. From what I've heard is like this is like he really like turned a new leaf in Cleveland. He's trying
Yeah,
right, and you're hoping that you see that with LA this year. They are on a 2 game losing streak. The first game, OBJ was not there for. That was the game against the Titans, and
right.
that was just a bad game for the line. I mean, I almost said the Lions, for the Rams. And a part of it, I think, apparently Matthew Stafford doesn't have a great track record with primetime games, and people thought at first it was because he was on the Lions. He probably rarely got them. But like now he's had 2 games back to back, and both of them have resulted in like really embarrassing losses. The first one to a really good team, the second one to a team that we're not really sure what to make of. First with the Titans, obviously, and the second with the Niners. Like I don't think anyone really knows what to make of the Niners right now, and they got embarrassed on this past Sunday night. So if that continues, I want to see like how's that locker room looking, you know?
Yeah, I mean, I think there's been like a lot of parity in the league. Like a lot of teams are getting upset.
It's a
It's
weird
it's like
season.
it is a weird season, you know. And like there's been teams where you think it's the best team, and then they have an embarrassing loss, and just leaves you back to square one.
Yeah.
But yeah, for OBJ, like I think this is the point where it's like, do you end up as a Des Bryant or do you end up as a Larry Fitzgerald, right? Like,
Yeah.
um, I think for a while OBJ was going down the field with this mentality of like looking for that explosive play, wanted to go deep, wanted to get the hops.
Yeah.
Like I shit when I was younger, I wanted it like that. Like, yeah, like what I'm saying, just throw it up. You know what I'm saying?
Throw
Like,
it over my head, man.
but after a while, it's like, man, like younger guys come in, like they're a little bit quicker, like they know everyone has your game figured out because they've seen it so many years, and now it's time for him to evolve. He's got to focus on other
Yeah.
things, and sometimes he's gonna be a decoy, and can he handle that? Like,
Yeah.
sounds simple, but can he handle that after all these years?
Yeah. The thing about sports, right, is when you first come into the league, whether it be basketball, baseball, football, whatever, you depend a lot more on your physical skills, what you can do physically, other than like maybe not spend as much time on your fundamentals, like the technical stuff of your position and
Right.
whatever. But like as you get older and younger guys come in, younger more physically gifted guys come in, you have to be able to make that transition from being a physically gifted guy to having your fundamentals down and including your your athleticism into it. And I don't think he's done that yet. Larry Fitzgerald, he was doing these crazy catches, and look what became down the line. He started to do more. You started to do more like crossing routes, the mid range
Exactly.
throws, the middle throws, and that's what you have to do because then you had guys like coming behind him and start to show that they're better than him athletically, but like he still stayed what he was because he was
Yeah.
a
Good work
fundamentals guy.
ethic too.
Yeah, man. Like
Hmm.
he's one of the guys that even though he's one of those very few guys that never gets a ring, but you constantly like if someone brings up Larry Fitzgerald, like is he a Hall of Famer? You're just like absolutely,
Yeah.
without a doubt, like he's a Hall of
No
Famer.
question.
Like, are we gonna say that about OBJ? That's the question, right? Like that's the question mark.
Yeah.
So So
I think OBJ is more similar to like a Melo in basketball, maybe even
oh man,
less, to
yeah,
be honest.
where you're just like the prime was prime, like, and you could tell people who never saw. Like we have I know plenty of people that probably never watched Carmelo, whether it be Denver Nuggets
Yeah,
Carmelo and or New York Knicks Carmelo. They see this Carmelo, and that's all they know, and you're just like, dude, you have no idea. Like
bro,
you
the
have
whole
absolutely
Lakers,
no idea.
like your point on athleticism is like that's like the whole Lakers, like LeBron, Westbrook, Melo, like all these guys depended on that
And
physical.
and
You know what I'm
yeah,
saying? And
and
now
like
it's like they don't know how to play.
hey, but I mean, if we're gonna keep the comparison with Melo, this year, these last 2 years, he's went from a kind of guy that wants to put you in the post and spin around you and do all those crazy like spin moves and stuff, take a fadeaway shot, and now he's a spot up shooter and he's
Yeah,
thriving. Right, like you have to make
yeah.
that adjustment. It has to happen.
One day Steph will have to do it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like we're gonna see it. You know?
Eventually, Steph's gonna be he's gonna be the Ray Allen in the corner.
Yeah, the corner three.
Yeah, man, like it has to happen. And right now, I don't think OBJ has made that adjustment yet. I
Yeah,
hope that he does, man. I really do.
same,
Because,
same. I think we all do, man.
like, imagine him going to
Most.
we get like a crazy Super Bowl, and he's there with like a Josh Allen or a Patrick Mahomes. Like, it'll be a fun time, man.
Yeah.
He's got to work for it though. He's definitely got to
Yep.
work for it. All right, man. Let's go ahead and get into the NBA. We haven't talked in the NBA. We haven't talked in the NBA, so let's go right into your story that you gave me.
Hmm.
You lead it because you know everything about it. I hadn't read the article. Steve
Yeah.
Nash is talking some crazy stuff. What's going on?
Talking reckless.
Yeah, man, he's
Yeah,
throwing words
man.
around.
You know, essentially, he just said that he didn't think that the Nets were on the level of the Warriors.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and I think there's a lot of ways to take it. You know, first of all, I think for some context, like we should remember that Nash worked for the Warriors. He was like an
Yes.
assistant coach at some point or shooting coach, something like that. So, you know, I know who's went through the Warriors organization that doesn't still love them, right? Like
Yeah.
they're basically like a modern day franchise. They won plenty of titles. They had tremendous success. So everyone who was part of that, they kind of know something special, right? So, you know, yeah, maybe there's some context there. Maybe that's the angle he was coming from. But you know, he also could be playing some mind games. Yeah, you know, Harden has been inconsistent. He's had some good games, but still been inconsistent. KD's, you know, he's still KD, but the rest of that roster, you know, you're kind of looking for them to step up. And, you know, they're in playoff contention again, but they're not the one seed that we kind of expected, you know, when you first heard the signing of Harden, Kyrie, and KD. So, yeah, man, I think it was a bit surprising for him to say that, especially so early in the year. But I think
Yeah.
he might be trying to get the players motivated. But you know, when you have two veterans like Harden and KD, I don't know. Maybe it's a good way to motivate Harden, but I'm not so sure about KD.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it. And to be honest, I don't know if it motivates Harden either. I think I don't know if Harden responds to that type of.
Yeah.
You know what I'm
I
saying? Because we saw
I
it in
agree.
Houston. You know.
Yeah, I agree. I 100% agree. To me, these are probably the two worst guys to talk to like this.
Yeah.
To talk about
Yeah.
like this.
Exactly.
Especially like, all right, so we remember the whole thing with Kyrie last year when he said that they probably don't even need a coach, and I
Right.
can assume, you know, Steve Nash probably felt a certain way about this, but like the two guys that were like, yo, hey, they're probably telling Kyrie like, bro, you probably shouldn't say that, and then you come out and say this. It's just, to me, it's not a good look. However, this is one of those things where if all of a sudden, because right now they're let me see, I have the standings. They're 10-5 right now. They're the third seed. They have the same amount of wins as the one seed, which is surprisingly the Warriors. The Wizards. And the Wizards are 10-3. The Nets are 10-5. Like, you're not far behind. So this is like one of those things where I'm like, did you need to do this? You know, if we're talking about like he's trying to motivate them,
Yeah.
did he need to
Exactly.
motivate them at this point in the season? Like you said, it's very early. Some people say that the NBA season doesn't even start till Christmas. We're still
Yeah,
a month away
exactly.
from that, and you come out with this, and you're only I'm looking right here. You're only a full game behind the Wizards. It's odd. So this can go one of two ways. The Nets all of a sudden turn it on, and they absolutely just run through everybody they're playing against right now. I'm not sure their upcoming schedule. I don't really feel like looking it up, but if they go through and you're like, okay, well, and there's no like backlash from KD or James Harden, then you're like, okay, maybe Steve Nash knew what to do. Maybe what he was doing beforehand wasn't working, and he's like, let's take a Hail Mary pass, and it happens to work. However,
Yeah.
if if they start going on a losing streak, this will be seen as one of the dumbest things that you could do as a coach. With the amount of
Yeah.
talent that is on this team, if they start to go on a losing streak, because right behind them, you have the Heat, the Cavs, and it's very close. The 4 or 5 seed have 9 wins. The 6, 7, 8 seeds have 8 wins, and you have 7 wins for two teams. It's very close. And if you all of a sudden go on a losing streak and you find yourself at like the 6th seed or the 7th seed, people are going to be starting to question Steve Nash and ask what he's doing over there.
Yeah, man. I think, it also just confirms like they're not a title contender. Like
Yeah.
you have your own coach kind of admitting it, but at the same time it's like it's just another story out of Brooklyn, man. And like
Mm-hmm.
at some point it's like, I'm not even taking a shot at Kyrie, but it's like at what point are you guys just gonna focus on basketball and produce some wins,
Yeah.
Like it's when this first happened, most people were like, wow, that's going to be a dangerous squad. Like you literally had some of the best players in the NBA. And, I'm sure there were some doubters out there, but my point being is like, okay, like we're in year 2, KD's getting older, Harden's coming off an injury. I mean, Kyrie's not even,
The
with the
window's closing.
team. You know what I'm saying? Like,
The window's
I,
closing fast.
yeah, I don't see how you can consider that. Like, to be honest, I as even the Lakers are in a the Lakers look bad, but I still think they're more of a unified team than the Brooklyn Nets are right now. And it's hard to say that, but I just don't think they're a title contender. Like, I think you have to look at more continuity in teams like the Heat or the Bucks if you're really talking about the best teams in the East right now.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. It's a very weird strategy. We'll see if it pays off for the Nets in the future. But let's go ahead and talk Rockets, man. What everyone's been waiting for. We got a nice little 30 minutes to talk all Rockets.
Yep.
And I want to go kind of game by game. You don't got to say too much, but just your kind of overall thoughts on it. So, first game we had against
Hmm.
the Pistons. This was a upsetting one for sure. 112-104 loss. The
Yeah.
battle of the one versus the battle of the two overall picks. Cade and Jalen, and Jalen, for what it's worth, he led the team in scoring. He had 23 points. I think he looked really good. Um, I think still struggled with some of the fundamental stuff, but overall he played a really good game. 23 points. He went 8 for 20, 3 for 11, but got to the free throw line 4 times. So that's good. You had excuse me. And then you have Cade. Cade, a really good game too, was 20 points. But the talk of that game was not Cade; it was Jeremy Grant. Jeremy Grant went off for 35.
Yeah.
And it was just one of those games where it's just like it felt like it was close, and then all of a sudden, like somewhere in the fourth quarter, it fell out of our hands. It was really upsetting. You had Christian Wood, only 9 rebounds. KPJ, 5 assists. That's pretty respectable. And he actually leads the team in assists pretty consistently. So that's really feels good to see. But yeah, man, go ahead and give me your thoughts on this game. What did you think of the first meeting of two between Cade and Jalen?
Well, I mean, I like the way, Jalen played. Like, I mean, to me, like one of the most important plays was when he kind of blew past Cade and kind of had that electric dunk and, kind of gave him some words. Like, bro,
Yeah,
I loved everything about that. And like, I know a couple people online were shitting on Jalen Green because the
he's a chip
Rockets
on his
lost.
shoulder, man. Yeah,
But exactly. I want the guy with the chip on his shoulder, man. Like, I freaking love that dude. Like, in the off season, we're talking about like, damn, like if we don't get Cade, this sucks. It's gonna suck. But I think if Jalen is gonna keep that mentality, like I want him to have that mentality more often. To be honest, like you're already losing. I don't care if Jalen gets teed up every now and then for fucking going hard. Like I'm completely okay with that. So, yeah, man. Like for that game, like obviously Jalen stood out to me. I like the energy that he brought. I kind of just saw it as like Jeremy Grant. Just, I mean, he's a veteran in the league. Like we know he's a good player. He knows he's a good player too, and for whatever reason, a couple years back, he chose to leave Denver and just go play for the Pistons because I think he wanted to have nights like this where he's just the man and he gets to score and dominate some teams. So whatever. I think at the end of the day, it was just they had a dependable veteran who just kind of outworked a lot of our younger guys. But I'm happy with the way Jalen showed up. And as far as the game more broad, like I was pretty disappointed we lost. I mean,
Yeah.
I thought that was, you know, I, it felt like a must win in a lot of ways because we had lost a ton of games. It was our only national TV game. You know what I'm saying? I just thought it was the perfect chance for the Rockets to shine and just shake off, a lot of the bad stuff that they've been carrying around from that losing streak, and for them to just come out and lose that game, I think it brings up bigger questions about the team. So like, if you watch the Rockets, you got to ask, okay, if we can't even beat Detroit, who's also one of the worst teams in the league, I think it says a lot about the rest of the season. So I think playoffs are out the window, right? I think you also have to set your expectations extremely low. There's a good chance we'll be a lottery team again. And for those of you who don't know what that means, that, essentially we're looking at being one of the worst five teams, but potentially getting one of the better picks in the NBA lottery draft. So, yeah, everything about the Rockets being competitive, maybe having a play-in chance, that's out the window, and even for myself, I thought this team had enough talent to maybe be a playing team, but they clearly didn't. So, yeah, essentially that's what that game solidified for me is that the Rockets are far away. So speaking of the Nets being far away, um, I think Alec, I was just saying, I think essentially that game set in reality for me. It confirmed we're probably going to be a lottery team. It confirmed we're not going to be super competitive in terms of like getting into the playoffs.
Hmm.
And I just had to reset my expectations.
Yeah. So my thoughts about this. So to me, this was a great win for Jalen, and I feel like he needed it. But now, like if I'm Silas, I'm taking Jalen. I'm like, all right, next time we play them, I understand that the emotions are going to be high, but get the win. Like you got to get the win. Like now you shown like you can show like, oh, I scored more points than you, blah blah blah. Now get that out of your head. Jump into winning, being like showing that you're the best, that you were the better pick by succeeding with your team, and
Right.
that's the biggest key. And we'll talk about Steven Silas later. Um, yeah, I'm happy for him. I'm glad that he got his 23 points. I just kind of wish that everybody else would have stepped up. It's another game where you're just
Yep.
like looking around, and I was waiting for somebody to
Yeah, man.
jump up and to step up and kind of help put the team over the top. But after a while, it started to look kind of bad. We'll kind of run real quick. We have Portland. We lost to Portland 104 to 92. This is a loss I was expecting. KPJ led in points and in assists with 18 and 5, and Christian Wood 15 rebounds. A great game by Christian Wood, but a rough time. It was it was really not close this entire game. This is one of those games where you can like kind of put on just like I'm gonna watch something else and then just kind of follow. That's what I
Yeah.
did. I just followed via the app because it was just not pretty. This
Yeah,
is like
man.
the worst week for the Rockets, I think. In
Yeah, I
terms
think
of
so, man.
I think it really like has kind of brought morale down, and it started with that Pistons game, ESPN, national television, and kind of starts to fade towards the end of the game. It's not what you want to see. Then we lost to an absolute just horrible game played by the Rockets against the Suns, 115-89. This is another one just not close at all. Christian Wood. This is how bad it was. Christian Wood led the team in scoring with 17 points. Like that's
Yeah,
not good.
it started
Um,
turning into blowouts.
yeah, and the thing that we we talked about with the Rockets earlier in the year, we were saying, or the first couple weeks, we were saying like they're fighting, they're battling. It's not blowouts, and now it is becoming blowouts, and
Right,
that's why we're
right.
seeing the kind of blowback from the Houston fan base. And then even worse, we go to Memphis. Memphis absolutely destroys us the day after the 136-102. Um, Jalen Green led in scoring with only 15 points. Jason Tate with 9 and G.J. Augustine with 5 assists. It's just
Yep.
it's been worse and worse, and that kind of leads us into what I want to talk to you about, Steven Silas.
Hmm.
I think that morale is at an all-time low, and now we're hearing all this stuff about Silas. Right after I finish closing the store, please tell me your thoughts on Steven Silas.
Yeah, yeah, sounds good. Yep. If you guys are watching, drop us some comments, man. Let us know what questions you got. Even if you haven't been watching, that's all cool. But yeah. Um, okay,
Oh,
so
real quick before you start, if you are in
mhm.
the comment section, please give us your thoughts on Steven Silas, what you think about him, and
You
we'll
heard him.
get to those comments. Please do that.
Yeah, man. So, earlier this week, for those of you who don't know, it's Alec and another buddy of mine, David, who's come on the show a couple times, and
Hmm.
we kind of have an active Rockets conversation.
Yeah,
So
a group chat going.
a group chat, exactly. And yeah, I want to give some context for this because I definitely don't want to come off as a pissed off fan. But anyways, I'm
As
kind of a
most people
more,
are. As
as
most
most
people
people
are.
are.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's.
I'm kind of
This
a
is.
more like old school guy. Like I like to look at box scores. I like to read articles. And I naturally just started having a thought like the last week, and I'm like, man, like I didn't want to have this thought, but some started creeping in. Like, man, it is Silas the guy long term, right? Like I started having some hesitation because I'm like, man, I can't remember the last time
Excuse me.
we did this. Bless you.
Thank you.
I can't remember the last time that we were this bad. I can't remember the last time a team was this bad. Like maybe the 76ers kind of when they were going through that rebuild were
I would
pretty
argue
bad.
last year was pretty bad.
Yeah, and last year was pretty bad
Yeah.
too.
We went on
Um,
like a 30 something game losing streak. It was, or 20 something game. It was bad
right.
last
Yeah,
year.
it was bad. It was real bad. So I just kind of had some like natural doubt creeping in. Like man, like I don't know if long term if Silas is the guy. Like I can't. This feels bad. Like I think we're better than this. And that was kind of where I was coming from. And long behold, like as I got into more Rockets media that day and kind of on Twitter and catching up with things, I realized that there's kind of a mob out there already calling for Steven Silas. So I laid it out that way because I'm not part of that mob. I want to be clear about that. I'm not actually a fan of just firing coaches
Middle season
for the
stuff.
sake of it, dude.
Yeah.
I'm a Longhorn, so we're on our third coach in like the span of 6 or 7 years, and we're having the worst year that we've had in that span. Like
Yeah.
the solution isn't to fire your coach just because you're losing. So long story short, man, yeah, like I think overall, like the point I wanted to make is like I want to see Silas switch it up. I want to see him throw in some people have been calling for it too. Is like I want to see some new lineups. Um, I kind of want him to go all in on Sengun and let's get some of these like vets out of here, man. Like if you're Silas, bro, if I'm Silas and I'm not, I'm just saying if I was in his shoes, I would call up Raphael Stone and tell him get Eric Gordon, get Daniel House the fuck out of here, man. Give me some young guys. If we're gonna be this bad, we might as well do it with young people, right?
Yeah.
That's my logic. Is these guys are the future of the team. Let's learn with them. I want to see Sengun out there. I want to see Green out there. I want to see Porter Jr. out there. So that's really where I'm coming from with my doubt on Silas for the long term answer, because I'm like, whoa, I didn't expect this to be this bad. It was my fault. I called it on this show. I was the one saying, man, I think the Rockets going to be competitive. I think they might be like a 10 seed. All those dreams have been shattered, right? But let's be realistic. So, yeah, man, that's naturally where I'm kind of coming from, and when I approach you and David, and
Yeah.
I think I want to make a point to not be associated with the fans calling for Silas's head, because I don't exactly agree with that.
All right, so when I saw you when I saw you say that, saying like you didn't know, you and David, I felt two things. First thing I felt was, damn, like they don't agree with where mine's at, where my mind's at. Because
Yeah.
anytime you're a sports fan or you have an opinion about anything, you do want people to be on your side. And I was just like, damn, like I'm on the other side of where those guys at. My second thing I thought was, this is gonna be fun for the podcast because this might be our
Yeah.
first thing that we're kind of disagreeing on. Because
Yeah.
I think that I do see a really good, not a good future. Right now, I see a bright future for Steven Silas and this team. All in all, I think this team has a very bright future. And the thing I kept going back to was, we're super young. We have five. We're playing four 19-year-olds at one time. The guy who's probably like we're expecting to be the star, like that's a lot of pressure that we're putting on him with Jalen Green. Christian Wood, he's got to deal with the mob coming at him like every couple games.
Yeah, that's another topic.
Even though I just looked at the stats, the dude is averaging 16 and 10. Like, he's averaging 16 points and 10 rebounds. He's averaging a double double. Like, that's exactly what you want from like a starting center, right? It's just it's mind boggling to me right now. Jalen Green, he's averaging 13. You want to see that go up eventually, but where he's at right now, my biggest disappointment has been KPJ. I was expecting him to see
Right.
him take a step forward, and I think he is, but he's taking a step forward in a direction I don't necessarily want to see him go. Like I want to see him like take control of the ball more and have more confidence in his skills as an offensive player.
Yeah.
He's only averaging 12 points, but he's averaging 5 assists. Like, if he can keep those assist numbers where they're at and just pick up the points, I think we win more games. Obviously, and then I told you, like, turnovers, the turnovers that we're committing they're not always they're not always turnovers where you're like they're clearly not understanding the system. They're not listening to Silas. I think it's more of they're young and they're trying things that I would much rather see a guy turn the ball over trying to create a crazy opportunity for somebody because they haven't caught up to the speed of the game and the physicality of the game than I would like seeing them just like straight up throw the ball and give the ball to the other team. And right now we are seeing some of those, but we're not seeing as many of those as the other category of turnovers. I think those are turnovers that once they get better, they will those turnovers will disappear, right? Like, it's not. I don't think this team has given up on Steven Silas yet, and my biggest fear is that the backlash from the fans ends up creating that. Creating that kind of resentment towards Silas. I don't know, man. I just feel like this is, to me, like this is Silas's technically first year, or like in reality, this is his first year as a coach. Last year doesn't count in my eyes. Like, he came into a really shitty situation.
I can agree with that.
I know y'all said that he was probably he was brought in to get us to a championship. I actually disagreed. I thought immediately as soon as they brought him in that he was going to start the rebuild. I think the rebuild just started sooner than Fertitta and the rest of the team thought it was going to happen. I think they thought they were going to have Harden for at least the
one more shot. Yeah.
But then when Harden shows up overweight and like just causing problems in the locker room,
smelling like liquor and strippers.
Yeah, you back Raphael Stone into a corner, right? Like, Raphael automatically all of a sudden has to come up with this trade. The Jared Allen trade is actually not looking like not trading him or sending him to Cleveland. Is kind of working out, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Jared Allen's kind of disappeared, and we have Christian Wood, who I think has been consistent. He's not an all-star yet, but I think he's one of those guys that every time I listen to the podcast, I listen to somebody talk about the Rockets, like, in terms of like people that actually are like covering the sport, like they don't ever have a bad word to say about Christian. Like I think he just like he's taking a lot of shots that I think go in eventually as soon as he gets better. We have to remember he's also in his like late 20s. He's not an old guy. He might look a little older, but he's not that old. Like he's pretty young still. So I think a part of me is like just I haven't seen. It's the same way I feel about David Culley because we know David Culley's kind of got the same treatment, especially with what Eric Gordon retweeted or liked or whatever.
Yeah, it's just so childish.
That one I don't want to get into because that one to me feels more like a disgruntled employee than it actually feels like someone.
Yeah, it's disappointing.
Yeah, it's something like you kind of expect better. Like he's the veteran of the.
Right.
Like, he's the veteran. He was supposed to be, but now I kind of look at DJ Augustine as the veteran of the team, as the locker room guy, which is like you said upsetting. It kind of makes the need to trade him feel a lot more like much more urgent. I think if he's going to be doing things like that.
Exactly, man.
But in terms of Silas, I don't feel like we've got to see if he's a good. I haven't got to see if he's a bad coach yet. That's like the kind of where I was trying to get to. Like just same way with Coley. I don't know if he's a bad coach yet because the team is just so bad. So that's why I want to see some more of these wins, kind of like win those games that you're supposed to win, like tonight. Like win this game tonight. Win those games against lottery teams. And we're not. In my opinion, I was never expecting to beat really good teams. Maybe get an upset or two. That's how sports works. But nothing like actually competing with these teams. But right now, like when you go against the Pistons, when you go against the Timberwolves, when you go against the right now the freaking Thunder, the
Magic, Thunder coming up.
You want to even the Pelicans now right now because without Zion, like you have to win those games. I think. And that's where I'm like, if I start to see them like going, the schedule's been rough. But when the schedule gets better, and I start to see them like continue this losing streak, I will start to question Silas. But until I see that, I'm still Team Silas right now.
Yeah, no, I think that was well said, man. I think for me is like I really want to see the veterans shipped out, and I want to see what he does with the squad after that because like. I even read this story because I read a lot of Texas Longhorn football stuff, and this past week there was actually a senior receiver who entered the transfer portal, and they said the young guy underneath him has like been taking on all this responsibility and started becoming more vocal and things like that, and people were like, "Well, where the hell did this guy come from?" And basically it came out, he's just kind of doubting himself because he kind of had that senior leadership, didn't want to be like stepping over boundaries and things like that. So yeah, that's part of the main reason why like I want to see some of these vets move on because I really want to see Silas as the leader, and I want to see these players playing in that offense and environment that he's creating all bought in, him being that more that mentor because for guys like EG, like he's seen it all, done it all. He's played with stars. He's played with other vets. He's played. I mean, freaking EG played in the Western Conference Finals. And to be honest, like EG's been a pretty great Rocket, I would say. Like he's been a lot healthier than most of us expected. Not including the last couple of years, but over the whole tenure of him being a Rocket. I think we could say he's played a lot of productive basketball for us is what I'm getting at. So, he's been at that level, but we're just not that team anymore. It really hit me when CP3 came and was playing the Rockets, and you kind of look around and it's like, shit, dude, like new uniforms, like, what I'm saying? Like all this change is like CP3 is like, God bless him, plays with a chip on his shoulder, but we're just not that team anymore. Shit, the whole front office is completely different. The same guy who moved Chris Paul isn't even here anymore. So, yeah, man, when I look at this team, is like, I feel like there's a couple people left. Let's move on. Let's really be forward thinking, and see what happens, man. I think from there, better things can happen.
Yeah, I agree. And that kind of brings us into what we could talk about next, and what you've been asking for a lot in our group chat. Maybe starting Şengün should be something that they consider. bringing in Shengun and getting like quality minutes and playing like heavy minutes. Like I like Tice. I think Tice is better served coming off the bench. And Shingun, I
Yeah,
want to see Shingun and Jalen Green kind of develop. And I think if you leave one on the coming off of the bench, it creates a weird dynamic. And I think these two
right.
guys, like to me, Shingun and Jalen, could be one of those next like point guard, shooting guard, center duos. Like something that could be seen as great if they develop at the same time. But it could create if they keep bringing Shingun off the bench. What happens if Jalen Green starts to kind of like think that he's better than Shingun? And
Exactly, bro.
then all of a sudden you create a weird dynamic between your first and your second picks in the draft. So yeah, that's something I hope that they look to change. Let's go ahead and look at the schedule. This next coming schedule. We have right now we are playing the Thunder, and against the Thunder we are. I'm actually gonna look at the score. I didn't have it. I'm sorry.
It's 29-36. The Thunder are winning.
All right. Well, I have actually 40-31 now.
Oh shit! Maybe I
With
just need to refresh.
3 minutes left in the second. Jalen Green, playing good. He's at 8. The Thunder, Luke Dort is the leading scorer right now. So Shea Gilgeous-Alexander only has 4 points. So I would say defensively they're probably doing the right thing, but Luke Dort is lighting him up right now. So hopefully that turns around. But like we know that the Thunder are not that great of a team, so I think we can expect something to happen. We have 2 other games. We have the New York Knicks on Saturday, so the Rockets get a really like a nice little break. Like they only got 3 games on the road, and then they went. I mean, at home, and they went right back on the road.
Yep.
So they've been at home. They've been away since the Memphis game. They have the game in MSG against the Knicks. This is our first time playing in the season, and then we play the Celtics for our final time in the Garden. So I think this is going to be another one. If we can't get this win, I don't know when the next win comes. Maybe
Exactly, man.
OKC again. Like it's tough, right? It's weird. We ended up playing like the 29th we played Thunder again, and then we played them again on December 1st.
Yeah, man. I think the Thunder have been playing a lot better since we played them as well. They're 5-8 now, 3-4 at home. But yeah, I think this is one where you want to win because, like Alec just said, you don't know when you're going to come across that opportunity again. I mean, playing in Madison Square Garden against the Knicks and then coming back and having to play the Celtics in TD Arena. I mean, that's brutal, man. So yeah, if you're the Rockets, you got to try and push for this one.
You got to go to the 2 Gardens back to back.
Yeah, exactly. You give Jalen Green and give Sengun some extra minutes tonight because you might as well try and win this one because the other one's not looking good.
It's gonna be tough for sure. Let's go ahead and look at the NBA standings just to see how the league is. Like we said, it's been a very weird year in both football and basketball. I'm looking at actually, let me go ahead and share the screen so we can take a look at it together. Share screen, Chrome tab, NBA standings. All right, here we go. Yeah, you can see 1 through 9 right there. If I need to, let me actually. There we go. So
Yeah, there we go.
1 through 8, 1 through 10. At the 1 seed, so you have in order, you have Wizards, Bulls, Nets, Heat, Cavs, Knicks, Hornets, Sixers, Celtics have jumped back into that play-in, and then the Raptors with the final play-in. If you think I made a mistake, I did not. At the 11th seed, you have the Bucks, and at the 12th seed, you have the Hawks, 2 teams that have been struggling right now. It's kind of crazy. This isn't really what we expected, but like we said, it's a long season. Things can change. What are your thoughts on this? On these standings right now, and like what matchups, if any, are you looking forward to see, or like are you surprised and like hoping to see?
Yeah, I mean, I'm surprised at the Wizards and the Bulls, but like, for just those 2 teams, like if I saw the Wizards in okay, the Wizards versus the Sixers, like I would pick the Sixers in a playoff series. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
um, I, I I'm happy for Washington. I hope they keep winning. I just don't know if they really have the talent or depth to like win a playoff series. To be honest, like it really depends on the matchup. So
Hmm.
I compared to the Bulls, I take them a little bit more serious. Like they have veterans. They do have some depth. I don't think the Bulls are exactly a title contender. I don't even know if they'll make it to the conference finals, but I think the Bulls are good enough to win a playoff series for sure this year.
Yeah,
But
and we are getting the
yeah,
play-in tournament this year again. I keep forget.
right.
I feel like people keep forgetting, especially me. Um, so that does play a factor. You know the
That'd be a great playing tournament right here with these four teams.
yeah. So like you end up having the Raptors and the Celtics playing each other, which I think would be a good game. And the 76ers and the Hornets playing. And then whoever wins that would win whoever wins the 9 and 10 game gets the loser of the 7th and the 8th seed. So it's interesting for sure. There's a interesting tournament right there. To me, so I'm looking at it. Um, in terms of who could play each other, I really want to see uh, what is it, Brooklyn go against the Knicks. I think that would be a great series. You know, Brooklyn versus New York. How does like a really well coached team
That
go
would
up
be
against just
freaking
natural
sick.
talent? Like in the Garden, that would be a lot of fun. KD in the Garden, James Harden in the
Oh
Garden,
man,
but then going up
you're
against, to
right,
me,
bro.
it would be the clash between like the well coached with Tom Thibodeau and just like naturally talented,
Yeah,
like two of the best players in the league right now
trying to
going up
outscore you
against,
basically.
basically. Like I think that'd be a really fun series to watch.
That would be
Um,
sick.
let me go ahead and go to the Western Conference, which actually is as crazy as the Eastern Conference is. From 1 to 10, we have the Warriors, the Suns, the Mavs, the Jazz, Nuggets, Clippers at 6, Lakers 7, Grizzlies, Blazers, and the Kings at 10 to close out the tournament, which would mean that you would have Kings, Blazers in the tournament, Grizzlies, Lakers, which I would love to see that game. I wanted to see that game last year, whenever before the LeBron hit that lucky three that he hit to beat the Warriors. I was looking forward to
That
Ja
bullshit
versus
shot.
LeBron. I was so looking forward to LeBron versus Ja, and it's possibility we could see it this year. I'll go first on this one. I think in terms of possible series, I would love to see a Jazz Lakers. Like I know that sounds
Mm,
weird, but I just think like stylistically, there's I think they could kind of like cancel each other out, and it would result in a really good series. The Jazz, their best players being Rudy Gobert and Donovan Mitchell. Like my biggest thing would be like, who does would LeBron be covering Mitchell, and what would Mitchell do on a LeBron type? If Russ is there, I think Donovan would absolutely cook Mitchell. I think he would absolutely cook Russell, in
yeah.
my opinion.
Oh, for
But
sure.
a possibility of seeing like I'm telling you, when I look at like playoffs and basketball, I'm just looking at matchups at this point. I just
Yeah.
want to see like who's playing up against each other, and a Donovan versus LeBron playoff series would be a lot of fun.
For me, like, first of all, I mean, Jazz Nuggets would be a classic any day. So there,
Yeah,
if the season ended, that would be great. But
Donovan
one
versus
that,
Murray again.
oh, bro, that's exactly,
The
bro.
next
That
rivalry.
was man. If we can get another one of those, sign me up. Um, but yeah, like if I'm looking at the standings, one matchup I would really like, and things would have to fall into place, would be Grizzlies and Mavericks. I want to
Ooh,
see fucking Ja and
ooh,
Luca go at it.
yes, absolutely. That's a great one. Absolutely. Yeah, those are the NBA standings, and like we do every week, I want to look at the MVP, at the award front runners, right? So I have we'll start from sorry, we'll start from most improved. Right now,
Okay.
the odds at the moment, it looks like You have with the favorite Darius Garland for the Cleveland Cavaliers is the front runner for most improved of the year, and I think that's a really good choice. He's been doing great for the Cleveland Cavs. The fact that the Cavs are where they're at, every player on that team right now should probably be on like the most improved because
Yeah.
to see where they're at, and I feel like they're obviously going to slow down, but there's a very big possibility that they're slowing down that still results in them getting a playoff game, which would be crazy. You know, the addition of Evan Mobley, they have Jared Allen over there, but Colin Sexton, Darius Garland, like that's a really good team over there, and to see him get that for most improved, that'd be really cool. Other guys you have is beneath him. You have Anthony Edwards, which I think is a good choice. If Ja Morant, so Ja Morant's third on the list. If Ja Morant can find some way to get into the MVP discussion, there's with that like no doubt in my mind he wins most improved.
Right.
And then you have R.J. Barrett, DeJounte Murray, Jordan Poole, who I think is a good choice, Tyler Hero, OG Anunoby, and Miles Bridges. What do you think of these guys? Who do you think would probably be your pick right now? Are you like where I'm at with Ja right now?
Yeah, I mean, I think like I, I feel like Josh should be able to pull away. To be honest,
Mm-hmm.
but that being said, like I feel like most improved gets a bit difficult to keep up with because a lot of times like you can't always their stats, but then there's also like their performance in games. Like
Mm-hmm.
if Josh taking over a game, like that's going to bode well for him. And some of these like most improved candidates, we don't always get to see it because it's just happening on like a regular game on their schedule. But yeah, man, like I think I think RJ is playing pretty good. Like RJ is averaging like I think 16 and 6 here,
Yeah.
16.6 rebounds. He's a solid piece, but I think like at the end of the day, nowadays whoever wins, a lot of times record is also playing into it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So like I think that will be the context. Like if Ja is able to get his team like top six, I think that's going to be his. Maybe if RJ gets the Knicks back in the top four, but for now I'll stick with Ja.
Yeah, I think Ja, just in my opinion, has like the most opportunities to be able to stay in the lead
Right, to win
for
it.
that award. Yeah. For six man of the year, there's a few people. So kind of with the runaway at the moment is Jordan Clarkson. Then you have Derrick Rose, Jalen Brunson, Tyler Hero, and Buddy Hield. And I kind of
Yeah,
with Jordan Clarkson being the runaway, I think that's kind of a no brainer. It's every year he's
yeah,
getting fan. Like I was watching the Jazz and 76ers game yesterday, and the dude really there was a point where he took a shot, missed it, and got two offensive rebounds to put the ball back in and get a score. Like the dude is so good. Like he's someone that I feel like people. The reason why he can do so well in games is I think people forget about Jordan Clarkson, right? It's like, oh, Jordan Clarkson, the journeyman. He's been, all over the NBA. You kind of don't think about him. And for the last 3 years, 4 years in Utah, he's been doing what he's been doing. Like, just kind of
exactly.
being quietly that second guy over there in Utah. So, to me, without a doubt, it's Jordan Clarkson right now.
Yeah, I think it's for sure Jordan Clarkson, and like you said, he's been an NBA journeyman, but ever since he's been in Utah, like something just clicked. He has so much more energy off the bench, just kind of making some electric plays.
Mm-hmm.
He's bought into Quinn Snyder and his offense, I guess, but isn't it also, he's my front runner, and isn't it also interesting how all these former Laker players have kind of found their way. You know what I'm saying? Alonzo in Chicago, Jordan in Utah, Julius in New York.
Mm-hmm.
Man, just makes you wonder what could have been.
Yeah, for sure. All right, and then we're gonna go ahead and go to Defensive Player of the Year. This one is actually a closer race in my opinion, too, along with the betting odds. Rudy Gobert is currently favored, but Anthony Davis is right behind him, and I think that's the race right now. And Antetokounmpo is not too far, but I think Antetokounmpo's got to start winning. They got to start winning more games in order for him to get up there in Defensive
Yeah,
Player. With what Rudy and Anthony Davis have been doing. Rudy's one of those guys. I think Gobert's the reason why he's talked about every year for it is because he is so big, and when you watch the games, like his just presence, even if he's not like directly involved with the play, his presence being as big as he is, it does affect every single shot. And
Yep.
and he's starting I've noticed to start to like leak out towards the outside,
Yeah.
and kind of like show that he could go out there and defend the centers that want to play the 3 point line. So yeah, I think if right now it's Rudy, Anthony Davis. Anthony Davis has just like his on off nights, and he's got to kind of like consistently come out here every week and be that guy. He hasn't been in for a while.
Yeah. I mean, I feel like AD's still trying to learn how to be like a leader for that team, and they got a lot going on. I think Rudy's for sure the safe pick right now. Before the season started, I actually picked, Giannis, and I thought Giannis might win MVP again. But I'm no longer on that MVP train. But
Yeah,
I think it's possible. If anyone is challenging Rudy, it's going to be Giannis.
yeah, yeah. I think so too. All right, let's go ahead and get into rookie of the year. So right now, rookie of the
Okay.
year, the highest favored is Evan Mobley. With I agree. I think he probably is the favorite at the moment. What he's been doing, I just pulled up their stat. I just put up all the rookie stats. All the rookies right now. Evan Mobley is averaging 14 points and 8 rebounds a game. Scotty Barnes, however, 16 points, 8 rebounds a game.
Yeah.
Yeah, Franz Wagner, who has 13 and 4 rebounds a game, and kind of like the closest other guy is Chris Duarte, who's having a quietly good season in Indiana with 14 and 4. Unfortunately, it looks like Jalen Green, in terms of his stats, his points are really nice. It's 13.9, but every other one is kind of just not up to par. Um,
Yeah.
if I'm looking at this, I think right now my favorite is Scotty Barnes. He's
Hmm.
actually like my biggest surprise of the year too. The Toronto Raptors showing they did their due diligence in drafting him. Um,
Seriously.
yeah, I think my favorite is Scotty Barnes. No respect to Evan Mobley, what he's doing with the Cavs is fantastic, but um, with Scotty Barnes, I think if they can, the beauty about the Rookie of the Year is you don't have to be the best. You don't have to be the best team. Whereas like with MVP, like that's kind of important. Rookie of the Year, it's not. And what Scotty Barnes is doing, keeping this Raptors team in the playoffs, I would give it to him.
Yeah, same, bro. I mean, like, I also heard, like, right before the show, I actually read that Evan Mobley has like an elbow injury and he'll be out like a month.
Yeah, I'm hurt.
So yeah, exactly. I think this is Scotty's to almost lose, assuming that injury is serious, or
Mm-hmm.
for a month. I mean, dude, 16 and 8, bro. Like, I can't really. That's just flat out impressive, man. Like, I mean, he's probably one of Toronto's leading scorers, and like you mentioned, he has him in the play-in tournament right now. I mean, bro, you couldn't ask for more, dude. And I think we got to give props to the Toronto front office. I mean, they clearly scouted correctly, man. And I think it's a bit harsh that Jalen's so far down. Like, I kind of even what I'm looking at now, like I see him as like 12th. I just think that's a little bit too harsh. I still think Jalen is a top five rookie right now. So
Mm-hmm.
we'll see.
Yeah, I think Jalen will move up there, but like I said, I think his other stats besides points needs to really go up. Like if he can get
Hmm.
like a solid like
Less turnovers
excuse me,
too.
like a solid like 6 to 7 assists a game. If he can just get that up a little bit more, and limit the turnovers, that he can become that. But at the moment, Scotty Barnes, man, doing fantastic. Florida State over there, killing it in Toronto. You like to see it.
Yeah,
And it's always
yeah,
nice to see like a guy like that. Everyone was like, Toronto, like what are y'all doing? Because I thought they were gonna go Suggs. I really did. I really thought they were gonna go Suggs, and they went Scotty, and
right.
Vancouver was like, what are you doing? And they obviously saw something with him. He's meshing with those guys a lot. Let's go to MVP, and this is more about stats. So I'm gonna go through stats. Right now, leading in scoring, you have Kevin Durant. He has 29 points a game. He's averaging 29 points, eight and a half rebounds, and 5 assists per game. Has his team in the third seed. I think that's well earned for being the number one. In my opinion, the MVP right now though is Steph Curry.
Yeah.
With Steph, he's averaging 27 points, 27.4 points a game per game, 6.5 rebounds per game, and 6.5 assists per game. Like, look at those rebounds, man. Like, almost 7 rebounds, the same amount as his assists, and he's keeping his team at 12-2. Like, it's like this is what you want to see from this team. And like, I thought they were a playoff team, but I thought they were like a lower to like mid playoff team. But doing what they're doing without Clay, and he's coming back and probably after Christmas, like I mean, come on, man, like it's hard not to give it to Steph. The other guys, you have Jokic, who's averaging 25 points, 13.6 rebounds, and 5.7 assists. Paul George is number 4 with 26.7 points per game, 8.2 rebounds per game, and 5.4 assists. And then you have DeMar DeRozan at 5 with 26 points, 5 rebounds, and 3 assists. Yeah, man. What do you think? I'm going Steph, in my opinion. I know the sexy pick is KD. You want to see KD win the MVP, but this is probably another Jokic, Chris Paul type thing where it's like who's more important to their team, who's leading in the numbers, and I don't know. To me, I'm always going to go towards the guy who's the most important to his team. I think that's Steph.
Yeah, I mean, I'm gonna stick with Steph. Like, I originally picked Giannis, and then probably like a week in, I switched to Steph, and I think I'm gonna stand by it because
It's hard.
I mean, it's hard not to, and like also, I mean, who the hell would have thought the Warriors would be like the top of the conference? You know, I know they're still battling, but they only have 2 losses. Like, it's incredible, man. And you know, my only concern is like when Clay comes back, if maybe his production drops off a little bit.
Yeah.
But I think, you know, if they keep the record, you know.
He's done it before, though, right? Like, he's been able to keep those numbers and win MVP with Clay before.
With Clay, right.
So, I don't, the thing about, like, with that is, like, these two guys have such a close connection and, like, just know how to play with each other. This is one of those ones where sometimes you'll see, like, oh, if a guy comes in the lineup, it can, like, kind of ruin things. Like, this, I don't think it can. Like, not with the way Clay and Steph play together. So I just see, honestly, his assist numbers probably go up, if anything.
Yeah, maybe it'll help him.
Yeah, well, who knows? But I never thought I'd be on the Steph train, but right now I'm on the Steph train. Like, they're fun to watch every game. Anytime you're watching the Warriors play, it's always fun to watch. So that's actually it, man. Like, that's kind of all we got for the night. Until next week. We'll cover more Rockets stuff. Hopefully we'll have this win. Obviously the Rockets game is happening, so we will go and watch the Rockets game. So if you want to see our thoughts on that, you know, go to Twitter. We'll probably tweet about it if we have any thoughts about it. But thank you for joining me, man. Thank you for everyone who joined the podcast and was watching at any point in time. Don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel, and we really appreciate it, man. You can find me on Twitter at AlecMiller0423. Paul, go ahead and let them know where they can find you.
Yeah, man. Catch me on Twitter at Podcast Paul, just like you see on the screen, man. Get at us. We need some support. So every follow, every like, every interaction and question, it means a lot to us.
Absolutely, man. And we'll catch you guys next week, probably most likely on Tuesday. Wednesday is too close to Thanksgiving, so I'm pretty sure we'll try and knock out Tuesday if we can.
Yeah, that's a good plan.
We'll catch you guys next week. Thank you for joining, and